We'll start with the situation of what you've got in the UK. And what it shows you in this pie chart is you've got three big chunks there, and you've got one little chunk. And what it shows you is all the people that died and what they died from, which is about 500,000 people. So in the UK, one of the richest countries in the world with supposedly the best, or one of the best healthcare systems in the world, we've got 34% of people are being knocked out by cardiovascular illnesses. We've got 32% people dying from neoplastic diseases, that's cancers, okay, of all type. And we've got about a third from all the others, diabetes, maybe Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, these sorts of things, or maybe the symptoms of those illnesses, all right? I put scary diseases as 1%, if some of you can see that little green slice there. And I put that because what that 1% tends to be is the things that make the news, yeah? So the bird flu, for example. And I think there's a bit of a disconnect there, really, as to what's going on. Because today, so far in London, 65 people have died of cardiovascular disease. But it's pretty unlikely to make the newspapers tomorrow morning, I'm sure you'd agree. But there will be something else in the newspaper. Now, what he did is he took these people and he put them on the same diet as those groups of people that we've shown you before. And prior to this study, those people had had 63 cardiac events, ranging from various arrhythmias to heart attacks, to stents, bypasses, all these kind of good stuff, yeah? During and after the study, 0. Okay? And 18 of those people are still here today. That study was done in 1984, yeah? And there's reversal. Look at this. This is one of the most powerful graphics that you can come out with. This shows here, this is the distal left anterior descending coronary artery. They call it the widowmaker because it supplies blood to the left ventricle, the pumping chamber of your heart. And if that one blocks up, it tends to be slightly more common in men, but the women are catching up as well. In around 40% of the case, first symptom of this is sudden death. Okay, so that's not a particularly nice prospect to have. But the exciting thing about this is when you look at the image on the right, and this is treated through nutrition only, no stents, no other things like that. Only intervention was diet. These people weren't asked to go on any particular exercise program or anything like that. Look what nature has done to that artery. It's completely back as it were. You compare those two angiograms, that's incredible. And we can't do that with any medical procedure at this stage. You've got, in the red column, you've got the percentage of deaths from heart disease and cancer. And the green column's a percentage of calories from unrefined plant foods, okay? And so you've got certain countries on the right where their death rate from those diseases is around 6%, okay? 6% of those people. And if you look at their life expectancy, it's pretty similar to the UK. So you can't go playing that one either, all right? And you start to look at this, look at the perfect inverse correlation you've got there, all right? And the biggest difference between this, and yes, there's all the environmental factors and the exercise and all that kind of thing, but by far the biggest, we now know, is from diet. And this is from the World Health Organization. We sit around 66% in the UK. So what you eat can dictate really where you want to sit on this graph. And that is such a powerful thing to understand. These countries like Hungary, USA, they're right up there as well. Right up there. Very, very powerful. You just need to be aware of what's in these things. If you look at it per 250 milligram serving, the amount of energy is 100 calories, which is okay. But of that, where it's coming from 26 grams of sugar and nothing but sugar. There's no fiber in there whatsoever. There's no fats, good or bad, in there. Yeah? Yes, you're getting some vitamin C. But look at the portion control as well. This is per 250 milligram serving. That's half a bottle. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was to buy that product, it's probably because I'm thirsty. Yeah, it would make sense. You have to go back to the motivational system of what you're trying to do to survive the food and sex thing. So that's drinking half a bottle. So you drink one bottle of that, you've pretty much, I would say, pretty much blasted out your sugar intake for the day. And we talked about endothelial damage happening from fructose. Well, it's right there, okay? Glucose is very similar where you consume in these quantities. It was a study done of Seventh-day Adventists. but a big study. Some of it observational, some of it clinical, mixture of both. Put it together, it's a pretty high level on the standard of evidence. And what you find is, on the left-hand side, you've got, whether people survive or not, and then you've got along the bottom, you've got how long they live. And what we tend to find here is that you tend to find people who eat the Western diet, this is what they found in this study, is that they will become increasingly more fat and sick as the years go on, and then die of those chronic diseases after being expensive to those around them or themselves. You look at those people in that society who ate a vegetarian diet, they tended to live to a longer age, but also not get so fat and sick until a later age, okay? And then you look at people who ate the Attribution diet, which is a name for a diet, but it's essentially very high in fruits and vegetables. And you found that those people lived quite a long period of time, but they tended just to start to die of just old age, more and more as a percentage, rather than these diseases which we see that kill people here, which tend not to be old age. And then you take it on to really what you were trying to achieve, which is to square that curve. So you live until you're 115 and die of a common cold in your sleep and pass away, and you weren't sick. That's what we're trying to achieve by squaring the curve. And the only way we can successfully see this at the moment is through diet. That's the only way we're seeing it. And there are studies done, and you can look up tons of studies which show that this is successful in rodents and a lot of other animals, mammals as well. The data isn't out yet for primates because they simply live pretty much as long as us, and we haven't finished the studies yet. But I would expect, and I'm sure as time goes on, if I live long enough to see that we will see the same thing happens in humans. So that's really what all of this is about, is to try and square out that curve there of morbidity and also mortality as well. I think the point with all of this is I want you to understand that you've got a choice really going from here. You can choose to go down two routes. You can choose to eat a healthy diet and prolong your health, or you can choose to go down the route which will destroy your health. It's as straightforward as that.